Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here, and this is Pillars of Eternity. If you haven't heard about Pillars of Eternity before, it was a Kickstarter project that raised almost $4 million. It is a party-styled, classic RPG approach, very heavily influenced by the old Baldur's Gate, some Dungeons & Dragons stuff, and recently Wasteland 2, and I think that was actually a big motivator for them to go the Kickstarter route. If you are new to my channel, one of the things that I'll let you know is my main focus is always on the story. So I won't be putting all of my focus into min-maxing a character, although I certainly will try to specialize where I can. But my main thing is to try and focus on the adventure that we're about to go on. And I'm pretty excited to do that for you guys. Now, I did reach out to the lead game designer, Josh Sawyer, and I posed a question to him. Essentially what I asked was, what do you think will separate Pillars of Eternity's story from all of the other RPGs that have been coming out as of late? And he had this to say. When we were working on ideas for the Pillars of Eternity story, we focused heavily on issues and themes that felt like they had analogues in our own world. Humanity has a long history of wrestling with issues surrounding manipulation of the mind, ownership of our personal identity, and the moral and ethical complications of new technology. There's a personal story at the heart of Pillars of Eternity, but pursuing that story pulls the player into larger issues that affect both the local colonial settlers and native populations in different ways. It's important to us that players feel they can form their own opinions about these issues and resolve them as they see fit. That was really interesting to me. I'm really excited to see what kind of themes they draw out for us, and I'm excited to tackle them with my character at the helm. So, before we get started here, I'll let you know that I'm going to jump right into the character creation part. It's going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to summarize for you guys the choices that I've already made, because a character creation in Pillars of Eternity could take upwards of an hour, and it did for me the first time. After that, we'll be going into the intro cinematic and then into the first part of the game. And I would recommend to grab your favorite tea or favorite beverage and sit back and just enjoy the adventure that we're about to go on together. Let's get started. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to go through all of these selections up top with my predetermined build, and we are going to be a male in this playthrough. Some of these things I will read, but some of them are pretty straightforward, like male, female. I am going to be actually a godlike as my race. I debated between this and an Orlin, but then figured out that I could combine a couple. So, as a godlike, they are children of the Kith, civilized races, who have been blessed with physical aspects associated with the gods, though some do not consider it a blessing. These aspects may take many forms and often come with mystical powers. Aberrant head shapes are typical, and godlike are unable to wear protective headgear, as it is near impossible to find anything that fits. Because of their unusual nature and their inability to reproduce, godlike are often viewed with fear and wonder. They come with a bonus to dexterity and intellect. Dexterity works as you imagine. It's an abstraction of the character's hand-eye coordination, balance, and overall grace. It can also be used for sleight of hand, fast reactions, and that kind of thing. Intellect represents a character's logic and reasoning capabilities. In interactions, it can be useful for deduction, problem solving, and sudden realizations. In combat, it contributes to your will defense and influences duration and areas of effect for all abilities and talents. Next one is, I'm going to actually choose the Fire Godlike. So, a couple of cool abilities here. The bodies of the Fire Godlike often resemble hot metal, burnt wood, or stone, with harmless flames that erupt from the cracks in their skin. Fire Godlike are objects of both reverence and fear in the Deadfire Archipelago. Many locals believe that they have the power to awaken volcanoes, or that killing one will cause a volcano to awaken. In the Drywood, Fire Godlike are often seen as a sign of the blessing of Magrin, goddess of war and fire. So the ability that comes along with that is, when reduced below 50% endurance, Fire Godlike glow like metal in the forge, gaining damage reduction and doing a small amount of fire damage to any creature who hits them in melee. So we get substantially harder to kill when we're below 50% endurance. So we're going to go with that. And then here's where we can actually choose the body type. And I'm going to go with an Orlan. And mostly because I think they're really amazing looking. And also because part of my character, not really going to be the main part, but part of them is going to be a little bit focused on stealth and being able to disable traps and get around quickly and things like that. So I figured a small body type would probably work well. The next thing that we're going to choose is going with the Cipher. There it is. Couldn't see it. So this is kind of interesting. A recent discovery in the Eastern Reach, ciphers were once Brishalgwyn. These are called Mind Hunters by the Glanfathans. Ciphers have the ability to directly contact and manipulate another person's soul and psyche using an ally's or enemy's essence as the focus for their magic. Though most ciphers are still found in the Eastern Reach, practitioners of the techniques have spread throughout the known world. They are gaining acceptance over time, but are generally distrusted, especially by the uneducated. So the starting ability, they can directly target allies and enemies with powerful soul-focused effects. These powers cost focus, which ciphers build through the use of their soul whip. And we've got stealth, lore, and mechanics. Mechanics is the Pillar's way of describing being able to deal with traps and locks and that kind of thing. So we're going to go with that. In terms of powers, we have a few that we can choose from in this first level. I've decided to choose Mind Wave. The target becomes the object of a concussive blast of psychic energy, suffering raw damage from the trauma. Characters in a conical area behind the target, failing a fortitude check, are knocked prone from the blast. So basically, you want to hit the guy in front, and then that's going to not ripple out, but in a cone behind them, it's going to knock them all prone, which is essentially kind of disabling them. They can't take any action. So we're going to do that. And then also Whisper of Treason. This is like a charm effect, so it imparts a bedeviling secret to an enemy that causes its allegiance to bend, charming them for the duration. And you'll have them for 10 seconds, which is quite a bit of time. So we're going to go with those two powers right off the bat. In terms of our specific attributes, I'm going to go quite a bit in might. I'm going to drop my constitution a little bit. Constitution is my overall endurance and health. So it might seem a bit risky, but hopefully we can get some armor to offset that. Dexterity we're going to increase. Perception I'm going to increase because I'd like to be able to deal with traps and find any hidden objects. Intellect I'm going to go pretty high. I'm going to max out at 18 here. We can actually go to 19 because we're getting a +1. But I'm going to be able to increase that in another area. So I'm going to grab Resolve. For our culture, we are going to go with Old Vaelia, and this is to get the extra bonus to intellect. Once the crown jewel of the Southern Seas, Old Vaelia is now the crumbled remnants of an empire of warring merchant nations. Counting many humans and dwarves among their ranks, the Old Vaelian countries are still forces to be reckoned with and are proud of their rich cultural heritage. We're actually going to be merchants, which fits nicely. It gives us +1 to lore and +1 to mechanics again. You've traded goods from all over the world, pairing items with buyers of all kinds. For our appearance, I'm going to go with a primarily white-sleeved approach, and I think we're going to go with a purple to complement our giant orange head. We do have a couple different options for the way that the heads look, but I tend to favor this first one. I think it looks pretty fantastic, actually. In terms of our portrait, we're going to go with this one that actually rather looks like us. It's pretty great. There's a ton of different options in here, but none of them are really reflective of our current character except for this one. So we're going to go with this. The voice, I think we're going to go... I'm debating between Sinister and Stoic.
Steady does it. Follow me.
Take him down.
Keeping an eye out.
Now I am the leader of the group.
I think Sinister's a little too Batman, but Stoic strikes a nice balance. So we're going to go with that. I'll show you the others really quick.
Leading the way.
Time to see and not be seen.
I actually like Feisty, but with a godlike, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I shall lead us. Keeping quiet.
Stoic it is. And for the name, I've debated a lot. I went onto Twitter, asked a bunch of questions. I got a bunch of weird responses, but I'm being influenced by one of those, and I'm going to actually choose the name Gloom. So, let's get going.
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
The caravan master finishes addressing the group, his bushy red mustache and sagging jowls quivering as if for emphasis.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you were planning a stroll through those ruins up there. Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who'd be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks. Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood? Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards. Unless you don't drink water, course. Which case you'll be dead in a day.
Yeah, we may want to get on that then.
There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry. About the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
It's actually a good feeling that they seem to be rather open to helping me out here. Where exactly would I find these berries, Odima?
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
Okay. And what are those ruins?
Nothing you won't see on half the hills of Air Glonfoth. Money to be made selling their knickknacks in Defiance Bay, if you don't mind getting stuck with Glonfoth and arrows now and again. They didn't build them, but I'll be the effigy if they don't watch them like a mother bear. Of course, all the ones around here have been ransacked 10 times over. Got nothing left worth half a pawn, so I hear.
Okay, so sometimes we're going to get these tooltips, and I'm going to read all of them so that we're all on the same page, and they're actually quite helpful. Your character's attributes, skills, class, race, culture, and sex may all open up options for you in dialogue. These options are not necessarily superior to other responses, but give you a wider variety of choices to select from. The manner in which someone responds to your choices depends on their individual personality and attitude. Okay, so who did build the ruins exactly?
Got different names for them. Settlers called them Ingwithans. Nobody that liked them enough to stop them becoming ruins, tell you that much.
And the area we're in, is it relatively safe, or...?
Not if you hurry about your business.
Okay, that answers the question.
And not if the weather holds up.
What kind of weather do they get out here?
This time of year, rain mostly, and wind. But there's a different kind of wind out here time to time. Locals call it a beowick, born out of the ether, the spirit's path. Never seen it myself, never cared to.
And what about behind us? What are these huge rocks coming up out of the ground?
This time of year, rain mostly. They don't got Audra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this. Goes deep like tree roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories. It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days. The soul butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things. I've heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it. Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go see about these berries then.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
Okay, and who do you recommend?
Kalisha. Kalisha! He needs to find some springberries. Watch that he doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
Yeah, great, she'll do.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
Yeah, well, she's honest.
Don't listen to her. You're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything. Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a Beawick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
Okay, so
You
let's
heard
go
the
and
man.
talk to
Let's get
Hayden
going
then.
before you keel over.
Is there anything here? We've got a couple of things we can do. Welcome to Pillars of Eternity. If this is your first visit to the world of Eoria, you may want to watch these windows to become familiar with the tools and interfaces available to you. Your party always consists of your character and up to 5 additional companions or adventurers. While the caravan is camped outside the Glanfathan ruins, Odima has assigned Kaliska to help you. Kaliska is a fighter, a class that excels at close quarters defense. Use her abilities to complement your own. To select a party member, click on their selection circle, their portrait, or press the number button that corresponds to their position in the party, starting with 1 at the left. To select multiple party members, click and hold anywhere on the screen and drag the marquee over the circles of the party members you'd like to include. To move selected characters, click anywhere on the screen where your cursor is a circle of 4 wedges. All selected characters will path to their corresponding position in the formation. If you see a red circle with a slash through it, you cannot walk to that part of the map. When multiple party members are selected, the action bar is hidden. To see an individual character's options, select only that character. Okay. So we've got some dry wood and clothing here that we can grab. We've got mechanics. I think we could do this. Yeah. So lock picked. 1 difficulty, 10 XP earned. What do we have here? Potion of minor endurance. Don't mind if I do. And one of the cool things is in any area you can hit tab to highlight any selectable objects. So that's going to be very handy.
Right.
What do we also got here? Minor regeneration and copper pan. Okay, cool.
Anyone need supplies?
Most
I've got
people you
sundries for
encounter in the
sale.
world are neutral or friendly. You can interact with them by clicking on their selection circle. Many characters will simply greet you and go on their way, but others will have larger conversations to explore. The merchant Heoden has a conversation that opens a store with equipment for sale. So, let's go and talk to him before we set out. You see a man wearing simple but mostly neat clothes. He's transfixed, however, by a ragged tear in the seam of his tunic. Okay.
Brought a whole wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road.
That's a shame. It's a shame. Looks like he hasn't gotten quite used to shaving on the road just yet.
Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like to take a look.
Maybe, but who are you exactly?
I'm a trader, originally from the Adir Empire, but I've been trying to establish new business out here. Life on the road has brought some unexpected challenges, to be sure. And I'm sure you've noticed how prickly the locals can be. But we're here to make the most of things, right?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If you think these Caravaners are prickly, watch out for those axe wielders Odima mentioned. That's excellent advice indeed. So, let's talk about disposition. You now have 1 rank in a disposition reputation. These reputations represent how people perceive your personality throughout the world. Even seemingly nasty reputations will be favored by some people, and benign reputations often bring out the worst in certain people. No disposition is inherently good or bad in Pillars of Eternity, but if your main character is a priest or paladin, you must be careful not to misalign their dispositions with what is favored by their deity and order, respectively. For the main character only, their dispositions will modify the effects of Holy Radiance for priests and Faith and Conviction for paladins. So, disposition does have an impact on us, not as strongly as it would for a priest or a paladin, but at the end of the day, something to keep our eye on.
Something else you need?
Yeah,
Looks like we're settled for the night.
Can you tell me about the Adir Empire, actually?
It's not as big as it used to be, but it's still big. The mainland is a continent northwest of here, but the colonies used to include Raed Saris and the Deerwood. About 150 years ago, Deerwood won its independence from the Empire. A fact our companions are quick to remind me of.
And so what brought you out here exactly?
Because it seemed friendlier than Raid Ceres? My brothers took over the family mercantile business a few years ago, and there wasn't enough for me to do back home. I moved out to try and expand.
Okay. Deerwood is a former Eder colony. It seemed like a good place to start, and as much as I admire the Red Syrians' work ethic, they've always struck me as a little fanatical. Sounds like you might have got the short end of the stick a little bit. I don't see it that way. He begins restacking the crates in his wagon. My brothers and I all working together for the sake of the family enterprise. Okay. Just so you guys know, the kind of background of my character that I am going to try to elaborate on as the story progresses is I'm relatively, like, I'm trusting. I'm going to trust most people that I run into, not to the point of being naive, but I'm going to be relatively comfortable that they're telling me the truth. But for me, I'm going to be a little bit more sly. I'm going to be a little bit less open and honest with people. But it's not that they can't trust me. I am very trustworthy if we become close. But the approach I'm going to have with people is cautious at first. So, Hayden, let's see what you've got here. So he's got a ton of weapons. We have about 110 copper pieces. Stores allow you to trade and sell your items for copper pieces or items in the store's inventory. Merchants buy items from you at a greatly reduced price, obviously. If you sell something, you may see it appear in the store's inventory with a much higher cost. Stores periodically refresh their inventories. All right. So let's see. What do we have here? He's got a bunch of weapons. We've got some shields. Some armor that's quite expensive, and some lockpicks. You know what? Let's actually grab, well, in this case, I guess we'll go with 2 lockpicks. Because you never know. Alright. Let's head out, shall we? Exploration is key in Pillars of Eternity. As you make your way through the Eastern Reach, open the area map to see what parts of the map you've already been to and what's left to explore. So, as you can see, we started over here. We've got a lot of places in the area that we can explore. Looks like this is kind of the max over here, and this is the max over here, so it's not a large area to start with. Sparful.
I'll have your water soon enough. Stream's not going anywhere.
Okay, well, as long as we have you to count on, everything should be okay.
Let's check by those outcroppings.
Okay. Oh, that's not good. That is not good at all, actually. Okay, so here we go. We've got a young wolf. Pillars of Eternity combat uses a pausable, real-time system. Because you will often manage more than one character at a time, it's a good idea to pause the game, issue orders, and resume real-time to see the orders play out. The options menu also contains many choices for automatic pausing when certain conditions are met, example at the start of combat, so it actually is quite helpful. So let's go ahead and have our warrior start doing something here. She's got the torch, the battle axe, and then she could use fists, but we're obviously going to use just the battle axe. And for us, this is a cool opportunity to maybe try our mind wave. The target becomes the object of a concussive blast of psychic energy, suffering raw damage from the trauma. Characters in a conical area behind the target, failing a fortitude check, are knocked prone from the blast. So that part's not going to really help us, but we will be able to just do some raw damage to him. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have us come over here first, and we're going to have her attack the wolf, and then she can kind of take the brunt of it for now. There we go. So, all characters in the game, friendly and foe, have 4 primary defenses against attacks: deflection, fortitude, reflex, and will. These defenses are based on the character's attributes, level, items, and other effects. Accuracy is compared to the appropriate defenses when an attack is made. If accuracy is below the targeted defense, the attack suffers a penalty to the roll and is more likely to result in a miss. If accuracy is above the targeted defense, the attack is more likely to result in a crit. And what's actually really cool is it's all based on dice rolls like Dungeons and Dragons. And as you see the combat play out, you will see some of the rolls take place in the bottom right-hand corner here. So if you're into that, you can keep your eye on it. All attacks that do damage have to overcome the target's damage reduction. An enemy's damage reduction reduces the incoming damage by a listed amount down to a minimum percentage. If you're having difficulty hurting an enemy, try switching to a weapon or attack that does a different damage type. Most enemies are strong against 1 or 2 damage types and weak against a similar number. Okay. There we go.
Almost.
Okay, sometimes a weapon or spell simply isn't suited to penetrating an enemy's damage reduction. When the attack hits, the DR will wipe out all but a small percentage of the incoming damage. You'll hear your characters complain about it when it happens. Take heed, note the damage type that's being blocked, and switch to a weapon or spell that does a different damage type. Yeah, that'll do. Whoa. I don't know what that was. Could that be Beowick wind, perhaps?
Yeah.
This is it.
Here we go. As you receive quests, your journal will update with relevant information. If you ever get stuck, open it up and review your notes. Okay. So Odima said something about you being in business for yourself. Now, as I said earlier, my character is not going to be as forthright with certain information. Not that this is a huge deal here, but it's just something to keep in mind. So, yeah, look, I used to pilot some cargo ships. Yeah. Yeah, how is it you happen to come here? Well, it's a good question. I had a big fight with the superiors about the way the ship was being run, and they got rid of me. That's a damnable run of luck. Maybe the new setting will turn things around for you. Been a long time since I've been this way, but I always did like it. Lord Redrick's offer makes a girl think, I'll give him that. You here to settle like the rest of the lot? To be honest, I haven't given it much thought. No harm in that, might as well see the place first. So you must have some other plan in mind for coming this way. Probably getting into a little trouble. Maybe looking for some adventure. Either way. You should hook up with an expedition. Some of the bigger towns send regular groups out to unexplored places, as long as you don't mind a little danger. Anyways, I'm wasting time here. Odima will give me an earful. Let's be on our way. Well, hold on here. You're asking a lot of questions. Why are you here? Well, my sister moved out here some time back. She sent me a letter. She seemed worried, but that's how she always is. This time, though, she asked me to come out, and that's got me a little worried. I haven't seen her in ages. Been doing guide work in Examtil. But I'd do anything for her. She's a much better woman than me. So I'm here and we'll see. Odima I've worked with before. He doesn't usually drive a route this way, but he's doing it for me. Okay, interesting. And what about yourself? I've got simple needs. I like open skies and far horizons. I find work that lets me live that way. My family wanders too. We started in Deerwood, but my parents ended up in the Living Lands. I've got a brother in Ryatai and another in Edir. My sister in Gilded Vale. She's the only real homebody. Okay. And what can you tell me about Deerwood? Well, not much for history, but from what I know, it used to be part of the Edir Empire. Broke off after a war some years back, and the locals here are feisty, and that's how they like it. I've been out of touch, but I've been hearing weird kinds of things about it lately. People having trouble giving birth, I guess. Interesting. A lot of them. I've been going on for years now, but somehow it's getting worse. With an uneasy tremor in her voice, she adds, I'm gonna have to ask my sister more about it, and perhaps her sister's experiencing that issue, and maybe that's why she called her out here. Alright, let's get back to camp, shall we? You know, I wouldn't hold my breath that Sparfle's getting you any water anytime soon. He does what he feels like, when he feels like it. Maybe we should check up on him first, slap him around a little. Stream's just down that way. Come on, let's get your water. Alright. So let's find Sparfel. He said he was going to get us water, so I imagine he's near the stream. We can hear the stream.
What a surprise. Sparfle went hunting. At least he left the water skins. Come on.
Okay, let's grab these, shall we? Use the tab key to highlight the interactive objects in the element. You crouch at the riverbank and dip your water skin into the cool water while Kaliska waits nearby, keeping watch. As you rise, you notice her look up sharply towards the tree line. Out of the trees emerges Sparfell, one of the guides, barely discernible in the dim moonlight. He no longer carries his bow, and there is a strangeness to his gait, a spastic wobble in his ordinarily deft stride as he moves towards you with labored breath.
Sparfell, are you all right?
Sparfell's toe catches on a rock and collapses forward in a heap, the feathered shaft of an arrow planted between his shoulders like an enemy flag. Uh-oh.
Ambush!
Oh, they're pinning us in, too. Okay, let's see here. Knockdown. Shoves an enemy with enormous force, knocking them prone, but causing little damage. Let's go ahead and do that. I will try to resituate over here out of harm's way. Okay, now, attack him while he's down. Okay, next, let's try and knock him down again. And for us, we could go ahead with our Mind Blast. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. I'm liking the disable that we have. You scored a crit. A crit is a better result than a hit, and they are more likely to occur when the attack's accuracy is higher than the target's defense. Attacks that do damage will do more damage on crit. Attacks that inflict status effect or afflictions will have increased duration on a crit. Grazes are worse than hits and suffer decreased damage and effect durations. Okay, so he dropped a hunting bow and some hide armor. It actually is nice that it compares to what we have. So we have the mail armor, which decreases our recovery speed, but the damage reduction is 9, which is quite good. If we compare to her, yeah, we're considerably better in both. ChristopherOdd. Okay, what else could be out here, though?
Sure.
Some dry or deer cap. The footprints around the campfire are indistinct and may have been here for days or longer. Might need a beer after this. Okay, let's get back to the camp. We could check out this side. What do we have here? The corpse is cold to the touch and a ripe smell wafts from its putrid waves. A dark crusted bloodstain besmirches its simple linen clothing. Some more lockpicks and some medium armor. Yeah, this does not seem safe in the least. Uh-oh. Oh, we've got more. We've got hunters. Okay. So same thing. I'm gonna have you go in and knock him down. I am just gonna hold back, and we'll see if we can't use our Mind Blast on both of them this time. Okay, here we go. We may actually want to position even better. There we go, look at that.
Take him down.
Come on over. Okay, now we don't have enough focus, so let's just get some attacks in here.
Let's go. Almost.
We have it now, but we should be able to just finish them. There we go. Okay, this is actually quite good. In terms of amounts, anyways.
Right.
But this is not good. This is actually terrible. Glanfathan leader, all around you lie the massacred remains of the other travelers, peppered with arrows and knife hilts, splayed and bug-eyed and filthy on the blood-damp earth. Kaliska puts the back of her left hand to her mouth as if to ward away the horror like a poisonous vapor. A handful of dark figures stands above the fallen, treading on limbs and backs and heads, jerking their axes from bodies as if half-split logs as they prepare to add you to the sprawling pile beneath them. One of them, towering and severe with a thick beard, tasseled with knots, holds a wet blade at the neck of the man you recognize as Heoden, the last of your caravan left standing. Lay down your arms, trespasser. Do not forfeit this man's life for a fight you will lose. I don't know. We could use some of our lore here. Look, the rune has not been sullied by our hands, men of Air Glanfath. Your words carry no weight when I have seen the truth with my own eyes. Blood must be paid for this intrusion. So I say again, lay down your arms. Don't trust them, they mean to kill us all. Only a fool attacks a weak enemy when a stronger one lives. Judging by the strength of the animal teeth around your neck, I'm guessing you're worshippers of Galawain. If Galawain told you to stop protecting the runes, would you? The man frowns and motions as if to swing his axe. Heoden winces, but the blow never comes. Instead, the man cocks his head intrigued. Of course, but he would not. It is by the command of all the gods that we accept this charge. But how do you know? Because it's inconsistent with their beliefs, or because it's what you were told? It's always been known to my people. I see. And what of Galawain's edict that weakness and age must be purged by youth and strength? You think Galawain would want some moldy, crumbling stones to survive longer, or survive long after their builders have turned to dust? Well, he would not. He told us otherwise. I'm sure he did, just not you personally. But why should that stop you from killing innocents? Distracted, the man's grip falters on his axe handle, and he nearly fumbles it, affording Heoden the moment he needs to dodge out of the swing, which comes too late. Howling with rage, the man charges you instead. Okay, now we have Heoden here. What does he have? So he's got Blinding Strike, a dirty attack that makes the opponents unable to see, inflicts extra damage, and blinds the target. Okay. So I think let's go ahead there. Let's see if we can knock him down, and then I'll try to get into position where we can blast all of them.
Take him down.
That's actually quite powerful how we can knock them all down like that. Your enemy lies supine on the ground, unable to rise. His companion's now silent among the other dead. His breath comes in wheezing, fitful grasps. He looks not at you, but at the sky above you. Forgive us. Barely audible beneath his choked sighs, a whisper of wind stirs the air. At this, the man's eyes roll back as he closes them. Good, good. The gods are just. A queer smile crosses his face. I am ready. The wind begins to swell, whipping around the camp, electric and volatile, upending pots and rattling tents like an angry spirit. You can feel it begin to seep beneath your skin like a jetty, beginning to succumb to the surge of a great wave. And where it pierces you, it feels as though it is rending you apart from within. Seated against a wagon wheel amidst the howling maelstrom, slashed across chest and bowel, Odima's body stirs, and with great effort, he raises his sagging head. His eyes barely open, he looks directly at you.
Get inside! Run!
This must be the Beowulf. Straining against the gale that threatens to pull you off your feet with every step, you set your hands in the worn folds of weathered rock and set about pulling yourself up the precipice. With a last burst of energy before your arms give out, you swing yourself up onto the ledge. Heoden trails behind, slowed by injury and delayed by early hesitation. As he nears the face of the rocks, one of the fallen attackers who has been feigning death lunges for Heoden and topples him onto the rocky ground. Restrained, Heoden lashes out against the fatigued assailant but struggles to break his hold. They are close to you, despite the wind from your position. If you were to throw your weapon at the attacker, you would have a good chance at hitting your mark. Yeah, throw the weapon. Your aim is true, and the hit jars Heoden loose. Lurching to his feet, Heoden clambers up to the base of the rocks. As he nears the top, however, the wind flares, pulling him sideways and tearing one of his hands free. But diving onto the hard rock, you manage to catch hold of it. Securing his other hand, you pull with waning strength, and it feels as though your arms will be jerked off from their sockets. They hold just long enough for Heoden to set his feet and join you on the trembling ledge. There's a deep resonance in the swelling wind now. You feel it in the rocks beneath your feet and inside the cavity of your own chest, as though it would shake the marrow from your bones. Each new gust menaces the old stones before you, loosening connections, unsettling balances. As you dart beneath the old archway, the entire portal begins to fall beneath its own weight. Just.
Was that?
A Bewick.
Had to be. Yep. Had to be.
Then we're lucky to be alive.
And we're the only ones.
We can't stay here. There could be another collapse. We're not getting out that way anyway. Let's get further inside.
Okay, so what do we have here? A lower level of the ruins has been blocked off by fallen rubble. Now we need to escape the ruins. Okay. We check out our journal. The Gilded Veil is kind of our overarching quest right now. The ruins of the Salant Lys. I've narrowly escaped the strange and deadly wind that tore through the valley, but now I'm trapped in the ancient ruins that the Caravan master told us to stay clear of. I'll have to find my way through the ruins to get to safety. It's interesting, we also have a biography which updates as we go. We fell ill with a caravan bound for Gilded Vale. The caravan master sent you off with one of his guides, Kaliska, in search of the remedy. While out searching for the remedy, you were ambushed and returned to your camp to find it slaughtered at the hands of angry locals. You dealt with them only to be nearly killed by a wind that threatened to shear your soul from your body. You escaped with Heoden and Kaliska into an ancient ruin.
That should be far enough. But what now?
I think we keep going.
We look for another way out. Storm has to die sometime.
What happened out there? Oh, it's a windstorm of a kind they only get in Ir Glanfath. Not too many people live through them, so it's hard to know what's true. The Glanfathan word is Bewick. To them, it's the gods' way of reaping the souls of the land that couldn't find their own way out. But they'll take a living soul as soon as a dead one. Still got yours? I don't know. And who attacked us? Who were those people? Glanfathans. Those would be the hut dwellers Odima warned you about, looking to the fangs of Galawain, who are the twitchiest of the lot. They go ruin to ruin looking for fights with colonists. Poor Odima, I think he half expected this once we lost the main road. The Glanfathans said we trespass in the ruins. I don't believe that. Odima would never allow it. But as much as the fangs are hotheads, Glanfathans don't attack without being provoked. Either they saw something and got the wrong idea, or there's looters in here with us. That's not something we need right now. What about everybody else in the caravan? The wheels got hold of them now. Gods grant them better luck in their next lives. You don't seem all too upset about this. Maybe you just don't know me enough to know what upset looks like. And maybe I've seen worse too. Seen worse and kept on walking because there's nothing else to be done and because there's other people you care about who still need you. Alright guys, let's get going. So if we map this out, it's a larger area.
Someone else has been here. We should move.
Uh-huh, but before we do that, we should probably see what they left behind. Camping supplies. We've got a mace and a hammer and chisel. Interesting.
Can't move now.
You've discovered some camping supplies. You can use these to rest in the wilderness or dungeons, fully restoring all your character's abilities and health. Easy difficulty allows you to carry more camping supplies, but hard restricts them severely. If you fully run out of camping supplies, try to find an inn. Most of them have cheap rooms available. Now, sounds like I'm a bit overburdened, and we could probably switch some of this stuff around. In terms of our weapon sets, are we just using the stiletto? Maybe we could throw that in there, and we could just split this between the group. So primary does 6 to 9. The crush. Okay, let's leave it how it was. You can switch to new weapon sets by selecting the weapon icon from the individual character's action bar, which would be here. We could switch to our shield, stiletto. We could actually just go like this to have both. I don't know if that takes us out of our standard approach. Okay, a small shield and a torch. Let's go ahead and give that to her.
Yeah,
Stay quiet.
sure.
So we've also got this kind of stealth mechanic here, which we can kind of use to sneak up on people.
Yeah.
And this is actually probably the best way to approach, I imagine. Let's do kind of like this. See, once we change the different formations, they will always try to stick to that. Whoa. So what is this? Oh, he's not an enemy. Scouting mode is both for stealth and finding hidden objects like traps and secret containers. While scouting, your character's selection circles will start to fill with yellow when a character is starting to detect them. Once the circle fills yellow, the character is suspicious and will move to investigate while the circle fills red. If your circle becomes fully red, your characters will be discovered. Moving toward a character accelerates how quickly they will detect you. If you actually touch the selection circle of a character with your own, you'll be immediately detected. Okay, so let's just back off here. I don't know if this guy's hostile or not. It looks like we could talk to him. I don't know if maybe... Yeah, okay. A trembling, sickly creature emerges from the dark, clutching a spear. Knobby elbows and thin ribs show through its scaly flesh, but you recognize it as a Zarip. It watches you cautiously, breathing in ragged sighs. Just, I don't know if it's hostile or not. Let's see if we can just approach it with caution. The Zarp recoils, fingers still wrapped tightly around its spear. The creature cocks its head and approaches you, a soft clicking sound emanating from the back of its throat. The creature sniffs around you and finds nothing of interest. It steps back and resumes its defensive posture. Okay. We come in peace, let's just raise our arms and stand still. Creature cocks its head and approaches you, a soft clicking sound emanating. Let's slowly back away from it. The Zorp watches warily as you go. Interesting. Okay, it is just going to attack us. Amazing. I kind of got the feeling that it was hostile, but it's all good. Let's go ahead and try and knock him down. We can also make him blind, or maybe we save that till next. And for me, let's come over here.
Let's go. Let's go.
Everybody on him. Okay. Unfortunately, he didn't last that long. He does have an interesting spear here. It's a spear, one-handed. Damage to 10 to 12 pierce, base 16, 11 to 16 versus deflection. It's actually kind of interesting. Is that something that we could benefit from, perhaps? I don't see why not. What does she have? Her damage is 13 to 19. It's certainly going to be better than these hatchets, I imagine. Oh, it's not actually that much worse. And him, he's got 2 daggers.
I'll be quiet.
So I'll take the lockpicks. I guess we gave him to...
Be quiet.
Okay, we've got a relief gem, some armor, a crossbow, torch, and a tattered journal. Okay, the small folio is torn in several places and blood is soaked onto several of the sheets. One later entry is still legible though. I can't believe my luck. A few rounds of dice and I've got my hands on a genuine Engwithan artifact. That must be this, this gem. Fellow who had it said it was a pretty nothing as far as he's concerned. He's not willing to go digging in some ruins, but if he's right about the gem leading to a hidden treasure, then that's worth sneaking past a few painted elves. I'll head to Salant Lis in the morning, then it's just a matter of finding this relief he was talking about. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, how does said gem work exactly? And where did it go? That's the other question.
Be quiet.
Wait. Do you hear that?
I didn't hear that, but now I'm concerned. Okay, before we head into the main area, let's keep going. Whoa. A Skulder Whelp. Alright. Let's attack this thing on sight. I'm just actually gonna go straight for an attack on it. And let's actually move me out of the way here.
Take him down.
Not bad. Not bad. Literally macerated him.
Yeah, right.
Oh, hello.
That looks weak. Could be a shortcut.
A crack runs along this wall from floor to ceiling. A light gust of air passes through it. Let's use the hammer and chisel, absolutely. You're set to work. The cracks lengthen and widen with your efforts, but the process is more taxing than you expected. Sweat beads from your forehead and your muscles begin to ache. Let's continue. After several long moments, you begin to see light on the other side. With one final tap, several blocks of stone shift, then tumble loose, clearing a gap just wide enough to pass through. One of your characters has become fatigued. Fatigue represents your physical and psychological wear and tear and demanding activity on a character. It builds up over time as characters travel, explore, and especially when they engage in combat. Some scripted interactions will also result in fatigue if they're especially grueling. The athletic skill automatically slows the onset of fatigue from any source. Fatigue goes through multiple stages, initially inflicting minor penalties but growing in severity over time. Resting is the easiest way to remove the effects of fatigue, though some consumables can also lower a character's fatigue total.
I could scout ahead, see what's around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, you could. The Eastern Reach is a dangerous place of lurking enemies and carefully concealed secrets. Enable scouting mode to move stealthily and search for hidden objects like traps and secret doors. Shh. Here's another one. Back away. Oh, too late. Okay. Well, in we go. Hopefully only one. That'll do. Now, I wonder...
Nice and slow.
Can we try and sneak up behind this other guy? Let's use Heoden. There we go. Oh, no, damn it. Hoo-hoo, we're not that quiet, apparently. Okay, you go in for this. That hurt a lot, whatever he just did to us. That was significant.
Keeping quiet. Sure.
Fresh air in here. I think we found an exit. Sounds like the storm passed, too.
Okay, well, before we take an exit...
Steady does it.
Let's head back to that main area.
Stay quiet.
What do we have here?
Those tiles look
Found something.
Oh, here's a trap, okay.
suspicious. Let's be careful.
That roundish symbol. I'm pretty sure I saw it on one of the tiles back there.
These symbols up here, I guess he's referring to? Yeah, it looks like some of them might match. Symbol of a patterned circle is inscribed on this pillar. An unlit brazier sits at its base if it could be lit, or it could be lit if you had the means. Oh, cool. We could just touch our fiery hair to it. Let's do that. Oh, it's kind of like disabling them, I think. If they're all traps, certainly help.
Be quiet.
Black ooze? Uh-oh. I don't know if we got both of them here, but if we did, that's not good. Yep, looks like it.
Let's go.
Okay, what have you... Ooze, plasma, and turquoise. Now, how does that compare to what she had? 17 to 24. Yeah, that's pretty good. I guess it's two-handed, right? So, instead of the torch.
Where'd that slime come from?
Well, it looks like it came from here. A viscous slick of something dark and tar-like runs down the wall. The shapes and bulges in the ooze suggest that something lies beneath it, but you can't tell what. Can we use our water skin? You rinse the ooze away, revealing an intricate relief of a man's face. The sunburst surrounding it has chipped away in places, but the details of the head, from the tight curls of the hair to the ridges of the pointed ears, still showcase remarkable craftsmanship. One eye socket is empty, a gem fills the other. Well, let's use the gem that we found. The chamber begins to rumble, stray rocks dancing across the tile floor. Finally, a large section of the wall gives way. Okay, this is bad. I don't even know where he is. Go. There we go. Now this must be the treasure that we had read about in that journal. Hello. Minor cloak of protection for a neck. Fortitude, Reflex, and Will. Amethyst, and Adra. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna be the one to take this. Oh, it gives us a little cloak. All right. That must have been the treasure. Okay, I'm glad we checked.
Yeah, sure.
And we
All
can
right,
actually
follow me.
drag these around
Follow
to
me,
decide
right.
who's going to be the party leader, which is kind of cool. Okay.
Be quiet.
Now which ones
Found
are...
something.
Yeah, okay, these ones are the traps. Now I want to be a little bit more cautious here because I don't want people just
Worth a look.
walking in there. So maybe what we'll do
Found something.
is we'll all go together, or we'll go individually, I mean. So let's go across here. And I think we can shift click.
Found something. Worth a look. Found something.
There we go.
Worth a look. Worth a look.
He almost stepped on
Yeah.
it still. So it looks like either way. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Back, 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 back. That was damn close. We might even want to have
I'll
him
do
in the
my
lead
best.
here. He seems to be the stealthiest. Let's go ahead and blind.
What you need?
And then I may want to come in here
Follow me.
and use our Mind Blast.
Take him down. Sure. Nice and slow.
Here's another. Oh, we've got a bigger one in the back this time. Should we take care of the little one first?
Huh? Hmm?
Hmm?
Let's go.
Ooh, okay. Bats as large as chickens are strung in the web. Probably this one's. A spear spider leg.
Right.
What do we have here? A bloodstone and a rapier. 9 to 13. It's fast speed. This is a helm that somebody could wear, but I certainly can't. Nothing's gonna fit this head. Well, it looks like we've pretty much explored everything, found a couple of different ways out. Oh, no, let's actually change up our positioning here. Older robed man. 4 figures stand silhouetted before an otherworldly apparatus. An ancient structure of chiseled adra and metallic veins, inscrutable and ominous, are looming like a silent observer. Standing motionless in their midst is what appears to be a human body. That must be this. Colorless as stone or ash, the other figures gaze upon it with what might be contemplation. From your vantage point, you are well obscured from their view. The face of one of the figures is distantly visible, framed by long tendrils of oily gray hair, tinged dark at the ends, and a thick beard that seems to obscure all traces of emotion. His faded robes are embroidered with a runic language unlike anything you've ever seen, and his head is crowned with a strange black headdress with 2 protrusions jutting out, one on either side, like the wings of some profane and malevolent creature. Seems like it could be a godlike.
Oathbinder, bear witness. And see, this man has kept his word, true to his last breath, full to his blood's last drop. Guide his soul, queen that was, and regard it among your favored. Let his life by the key be his confession. Let his death by the key be his absolution. May he walk the world ever free of the crushing weight of the book. Your brother has done his part, and you have seen the power of his contribution. I will accept no further hesitation from the rest of you. In the sight of the queen that was, will you fulfill the oath? Will you take your place beside your brother in the endless esteem of her memory that is without flaw? Step forth and be assured of the great worth of your life's course.
Whoa! I'm pretty sure we were not supposed to see that. For an instant, the apparatus goes quiet and the air is still. Then all at once, it erupts with a concussive surge. Light floods your vision and you are knocked to the ground. Your head snaps back as you land, and pain wells in the back of your skull, washing your last thoughts away into the black, unconscious void. You open your eyes to a different place, another time. You stand in a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with adra and trimmed with copper. The style is ancient, but the chamber is unweathered. At the far end, a great pillar of adra pierces the floor from below like a ragged spike, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Encircling the pillar is an apparatus much like the one you have just seen, but immense and multifaceted and intertwined. The work, perhaps, of a prodigious but fevered mind. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they seem to exist before you think them, and they are all questions. Pressing questions, troubling questions, questions that must be answered, or... At the base of the pillar now, you see a man with a thick gray beard in some ceremonial robe, his oily hair tucked beneath a black cowl, and a strange ornamental headdress. You know this man. You are walking towards him now at a pace that is hurried while trying not to appear so. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all, and the question spins madly in your mind. Oh no! You awaken to find your malaise is broken, only to be replaced with something far more concerning. The faint whispers are audible at the edge of your hearing like a ringing in your ears that does not subside. Movement flits through the periphery, but when you turn to look, you see no sign of whatever it was. You find your gaze regularly darting this way and that, an involuntary paranoid tick. If this is a sickness, it may be dangerous to go without treatment for long. The figures at the machine stand frozen in place, flesh and blood replaced by cinders and ash. The men who led them is nowhere to be seen. Heoden and Kaliska lie bloody on the uneven cobbles, their bodies twisted unnaturally in death. You are alone and far from help. Gilded Veil may be your best hope of receiving treatment before things get worse. Your characters earned enough experience to advance a level. Click the icon on their portrait to level them up. Wow. Okay, so this is bad. What we just experienced, I don't know if that was an out-of-body experience or taking us to a different time altogether that we've that we've either been through before or could experience in the future. These guys are now all petrified, except for their leader, who was the guy that we were walking towards in the dream. It said we knew him, which is relatively concerning, actually. So we'll put all of that stuff in our stash. Wow. Okay, so what do we have here? We've got mechanics, lore, athletics, and stealth. We've got additional powers that we can now choose. I think I'm gonna go mechanics. I really like being able to get into different areas as much as humanly possible, or as much as godlike possible in this scenario. We have actually a lot of points that we can spend here. We could take mechanics up to number 1, but maybe athletics would be good. Because athletics impacts our fatigue, which we saw got really low after we used that chisel. So maybe we stick with 1 in athletics, grab a couple in mechanics, and we could advance our stealth. Survival can also be used in conversations and scripted interactions. 0% consumable duration, plus 5%. Doesn't seem like a long time, but I guess if you really focus on it. I really want to be good at scouting and dealing with traps and things, so I think stealth and mechanics is a good bet. We can also pick a new power. So we've got Eye Strike, shocks an enemy's visual receptors. The target is blinded for 14.5 seconds. Dazed for 14.5 seconds. That's crazy. That's really good. Antipathic Field. It's a foe beam, so it does corrosion damage. Anyone caught in the path between the two, so you target the guy in the back. We have one ability, the Mind Wave, to target in the front, to knock everybody down. Then we can target the guy in the back to do corrosive damage to everybody. That might work out nicely. Briefly transforms the outer shell of an allied target's soul into energy. Characters standing in the area around the target take shock damage. It's not bad either. Tenuous Grasp. Assails the target's grasp on reality, frightening and confusing them. Accuracy reduction, confused. I think I'm going to go with Antipathic Field, actually. And then we've got a couple of different whips here, it looks like. We can pick... We have to pick talents for class, offensive, defensive, and utility. Talents can be used to customize your character beyond your class ability choices. Some talents modify existing abilities, but others add new abilities of their own. A subset of talents are class-specific, but most can be taken by characters in any class. So, Biting Whip, it modifies the soul whip damage by 1.2. Stun for 4.4 seconds. That's actually pretty good. Psychic Backlash. Draining Whip. +2 focus on hit. That could be quite good, so we can use our powers more often. And the Cypher has increased maximum focus. +10. I think I'm going to use the Draining Whip, actually, to build our focus faster. Weapon focus, let's see here. These are different weapon types. Marksman, two-hand style, one-hand style. Weapon focus, adventurer. Gaining accuracy with all weapons of those types. The Poleaxe, Estoc, flail, wand, and warbow. I mean, currently we have this pike thing, but I don't know this is what we want long-term. It's not terrible. But I think we're going to be the type that kind of stands in the back. Maybe at some point we do want to change to like we've got a war bow here. What about... We've got hunting bows. It's +6 accuracy. It doesn't mean that we can't use other things. We could go marksman with ranged weapons. That's pretty open-ended. I like that. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, let's just cancel that. So let's go again. Mechanics, stealth, and athletics. We can hold on to the 1 point, or we could go 1 into survival. I think we'll just hold on to it. Grab Antipathic Field. And then we'll go Draining Whip. And maybe what we do here is... Oh, okay, this is just one thing that we can do. Yeah, okay, good. So I want to go Draining Whip is what I want. I don't want one of these. I want Draining Whip for sure. I thought we had to select from each one. Okay. After leveling a character up, you may want to review their stats. Open the character sheet to see the attributes, skills, and abilities and talents in greater detail. So here we go. This is like a ton of information. Tons. Okay, very cool. Well, we've lost a couple of guys already. That's dangerous. We ran into this situation up here, which we weren't supposed to see, but we did, and somehow got sucked into another world. I think this is a good place to take a break. When we come back, we will venture forth and see what other kind of adventures we shall find. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.